The US House of Representatives has officially banned the use of WhatsApp on all government-issued devices. The reason? Concerns over national cybersecurity. According to the House Chief Administrative Officer, WhatsApp poses a high risk primarily due to a lack of transparency in how it stores and protects user data and the absence of encryption for backed up content. The ban applies to mobile apps, desktop clients, and even the browser version of WhatsApp. Meta, WhatsApp's parent company, has strongly disagreed. They argue that the platform provides end-to-end encryption by default and is even more secure than many alternatives. But that hasn't stopped the House. They have recommended the government staff to use apps like Microsoft Teams and Apple's iMessage and even Signal instead. This move isn't new. TikTok, ChatGPT, and DeepSeek have also faced similar bans on federal devices in the US. Now, here's the big question. If the US can ban WhatsApp over security concern, should India also review digital dependency on foreign apps? WhatsApp is a widely used and perceived as a secure messaging platform, especially because of the encryption that it promises. But herein, US House has banned use of WhatsApp, especially for the government. Now we have to look in here how this changes the idea of cyber governance, not just for US, and what implications are associated with it in terms of India as well. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are not just going to understand this particular incident but also the pattern of ban apps that we have been seeing, change of digital doctrine from the end of US, and how the cyber governance is gradually evolving, and especially in the context of WhatsApp and its features, what are being facilitated and what it actually looks like. So let us begin with the incident itself, where the US House of Representatives has formally banned. We have to understand that this is a formal ban, not a condemnation or a suggestion, which has come from House of Representatives for the WhatsApp, and it is specifically for all government issued devices. And there has been a clear reason which has been cited for this, that is that this is a high risk when we are using this as a communication app. Now, another important thing for us to look into this particular incident is that wherein US House of Representatives has banned this, and there has been a suggestion of using other apps like Apple's iMessage. There has been suggestion of using other apps, for example, Apple's iMessage, Microsoft Teams, and also the controversial Signal app, wherein a recent incident in terms of privacy breach, especially related to US government, had happened, but still US government is giving the alternative for WhatsApp as to Signal. So this is another way of understanding that why an app which was considered secure, for example WhatsApp, has suddenly been banned, and whereas an app where a privacy breach had been seen, especially for the sensitive information going out from the US government, was intercepted, and it was guessed that it was being done by Russian hackers from this particular app. That app is being allowed. That is for some other time, we can get into the details of it. But now that we have understood, we need to also look into what is the official reasoning that has been given by Chief Administrative Officer here. So the reason has been simply given that there is lack of transparency from WhatsApp in terms of backend operation. The stored data they have, we are talking about the metadata, we are not talking about the messaging contents, that is not encrypted. That means there are vulnerabilities and they can be exposed. Furthermore, this is what leads to potential national security risk, and this is what we are talking about, that it can lead to foreign surveillance and it can also lead to backdoors or code opacity. Now, because of all these reasons, we have to understand, especially in the terms of government devices, when we are talking about, they have sensitive information with them. So, this is what we are addressing here कि यहाँ पर national security का risk जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा है, और यहाँ पर फॉरेन सर्विलेंस, बैकडोर्स और कोड ओपेसिटी जो है हमें देखने के लिए मिल सकती है। अब यहाँ पर जो ये चेंज आया है स्पेशली इन टर्म्स ऑफ दिस बैन, ये जो है ये बैन जो है इकलौता नहीं है, दिस नॉट अ सिंगुलर इवेंट। यूएस हैज प्लेस्ड मेनी सच बैन्स in the past as well. This is not an isolated event. अगर हम इससे पहले देखेंगे जैसे कि टिकटॉक पर बैन लगाया गया था because it is seen that it had ties to Chinese data servers and there was again worry of that the data will be leaked and this is sensitive data from the government that we are talking about. US had also banned ChatGPT because there was privacy risk, because the secure sensitive information could be uploaded and it could be synthesized by ChatGPT. And now the new one to the list that we have is WhatsApp. So this event which we are talking about, it is in addition to a pattern that has been happening. एंड ये बेसिकली हमें ये दिखा रहा है यहाँ पे कि यहाँ पर डिजिटल डॉक्टराइन जो है वो ग्रेजुअली इवॉल्व कर रही है, ना सिर्फ यूएस के लिए बल्कि इंडिया के लिए भी। यहाँ पर ये बात क्लियर की गई है कि जो डेटा, जिसको हम कई जगह ये भी बोलते हैं कि डेटा इज द न्यू ऑयल, दिस इज व्हाट गेट्स द इकोनॉमी रनिंग। So data is sovereignty here. We want to protect our data just like we would want to protect our territories. We want it sovereign. And there is also a clear communication that control over communication apps is just like national defense. The way we want to control our territories, keep our territories with ourselves, the communication apps is also part of national defense and national security. So on these very lines हम ये सोच सकते हैं कि डिजिटल डॉक्टराइन जो है वो इवॉल्व कर रही है और हम यहाँ पर नेशनल सिक्योरिटी और डिजिटल सिक्योरिटी को अलग अलग नहीं देखते हैं. They are seen more or less as a one singular thing. Now let us move and talk about this particular app, WhatsApp. What are the features that it holds that make it more secure as compared to the other apps? When we talk about the one promised feature that comes from WhatsApp that you must have also seen in the top of your chat, where it promises end-to-end encryption. That means whatever is the content, it is only between two people, the sender and then the receiver. Because it is encrypted and there is end-to-end encryption, nobody other than the sender and the receiver can read it, can understand it, and it is not even seen by the parent company of WhatsApp, that is Meta. But this is not the whole picture. यहाँ पर दो ऐसी चीजें भी हैं जो हमें ये समझनी है कि कैसे यहाँ पर डेटा जो है कुछ एक्सटेंट तक एक्सपोज है. जैसे कि when we talk about metadata collection, whoever logs, who messaged whom, when, how often. So if we are talking about the content, हो सकता है वो किसी को ना पता चले, बट किसने कितनी बार किससे कब कब बात की उसका प्रॉपर लॉग जो है वो वहां क्रिएट होगा. तो ये मीटा डेटा जो है वो कलेक्शन होता रहता है and this is directly facilitating WhatsApp business idea, because WhatsApp as a messaging app does not make money. WhatsApp long-term goal is to become a business where it facilitates other business in terms of consumer, talking to them, selling their products. So we have to remember metadata collection is going to serve that view, and it basically logs all of this data, that who is messaging whom, at what frequency and when it is being done. Other than that, there is closed source encryption protocol. For example, if we look at Signal, which is a different app, there is back end cannot be independently verified. If we are using Signal, we can go to the backend and verify it independently. But in terms of WhatsApp, the backend verification cannot be done independently. Which because of these reasons, यहाँ पे यही दो reasons हैं जिनकी वजह से यहाँ पे जो हम सिक्योरिटी की बात कर रहे हैं कि वो impervious है, impervious हमें नहीं दिख रही है. इसके अलावा हमने ऐसे पास्ट में कुछ इंसिडेंट्स देखे हैं जहाँ पे WhatsApp का जो प्रॉमिस है about that the data is not going out has not been fulfilled. For example, if we talk about Pegasus in 2019. So Pegasus in 2019, basically it was a spyware which exploited WhatsApp for surveillance of journalists and activists and politicians, including the ones in India. How did the spyware use WhatsApp? Because whatever was the communication being done on this particular app was traced. Another example is the NSO group exposure. If we talk about this particular incident, यहाँ पर हमें ये देखने को मिला कि कैसे इंक्रिप्शन होने के बावजूद यहाँ पर जो स्पाईवेयर है, अगर यहाँ पर साइबर सिक्योरिटी में हम मैलवेयर्स की बात करते हैं, स्पाईवेयर्स की बात करते हैं, यहाँ पे वो यूज हो रहे हैं, तो कैसे ज़रूरी है कि यहाँ पे हम इनका एक्सपोजर भी समझे, सिर्फ इंक्रिप्शन से यहाँ पर काम नहीं चलेगा. However, in recent developments, we have also seen many other red flags. For example, Meta has just talked about that they will be introducing ads on WhatsApp. First of all, this is double standard, this is hypocrisy, because Meta promised no ads policy, especially for WhatsApp. But now if they are bringing in ads, why it is a red flag? Because it will lead to enhanced profiling. Other than that, integration with Meta's wider ad ecosystem. If we are amalgamating it with Meta's broader ad ecosystem, we have to understand that whatever have been the earlier privacy commitments, they are being gradually compromised. So, given the one fact that there is end-to-end encryption, it does not make WhatsApp impervious. Yes, as compared to other apps, it might seem like a better platform, but when we are talking about sensitive and secure data, especially with related to government agencies, it becomes important that they are protected, and given these experiences, WhatsApp does not seem like a safer choice as of now for US government. Now the question arises, what about India? Will India's cyber governance will also take this in consideration? But when we talk about India, WhatsApp and Indian government have their own tussle that is going on, and the concerns are very different. So when we talk about the ongoing legal battle between Indian government and WhatsApp, we see that WhatsApp had challenged IT rules which were given in 2021. Now, why WhatsApp has challenged? So, IT rules 2021 clearly state that messaging apps, social media apps which are used for unlawful messages, spreading hate messages, they need to help the government authorities to trace the origin of such messages, correct? Now, WhatsApp has gone ahead and challenged this particular clause in IT rules, and it says if that we are going to trace that particular originator, यहाँ पर violation होगा right to privacy का जो हम end to end encryption से दे रहे हैं, और यहाँ पे यूजर की सेफ्टी जो है वो क्लियरली कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाएगी. तो यहाँ पर WhatsApp ने IT रूल्स जो बनाए गए हैं साइबर गवर्नेंस को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, डिजिटल यहाँ पर गवर्नेंस को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए, उसमें जो एक पर्टिकुलर क्लॉज है उसके अगेंस्ट यहाँ पर दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट में लीगल बैटल जो है स्टार्ट हो गया. बट गवर्नमेंट का यहाँ पे कहना है, गवर्नमेंट सेज दैट इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी आर एबल टू ट्रेस द ओरिजिन ऑफ सच मैसेजेस, because these messages are responsible for hate speech, mob violence, terrorism planning, and अगर हमें इन्हें कर्ब करना है तो ट्रेसेबिलिटी जो है वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. इसके अलावा जो यहाँ पे डिसइंफॉर्मेशन, रॉन्ग इन्फॉर्मेशन में हमें बढ़त दिख रही है, सर्ज दिख रही है, वो यहाँ पे कर्व हो सकती है, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग इलेक्शन, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग वायलेंसेस दैट वी सी. एंड another thing that our government is focusing on is data localization. India wants that whatever data, sensitive user data is present, it should be stored domestically. That means it should not be usable by foreign entities. As simple as that. That is what we are talking about when we are saying data sovereignty. We want our data localized. So when we see the change in stance that US is taking, we also have very similar stance when we are talking about data. And another concern that Indian government has is that there is lack of regulatory control. WhatsApp has refused to share the source code or the content, which is basically the black box communication, which we call black box communication. So whenever we are talking about, just like when initially we were talking about that there is independent checking of the source code. For example, in apps like Signal, this is not available for WhatsApp. So here the authorities are not able to understand or get the data related to source code or the content associated with it, and that is another regulatory concern at the end of the government. So now we know WhatsApp's side, what is their legal concern and why they have entered the legal battle. But at the end of government, it is important to ensure the national security interest. So now you have to understand that this becomes a fight between individuals' privacy and national security, which usually is seen like that if we are focusing on right to privacy, then we are compromising national interest, and if we are focusing on national interest, then we are losing the sight of human rights and right to privacy. We are compromising on the user privacy which is being promised by WhatsApp. Now moving to the trust deficit part. Now when we are talking about trust deficit, how this trust deficit has come in is the fact that WhatsApp has dominance in terms of a messaging app, which makes it a quasi-sovereign, which gives it a क्वाजी-सोवरेन स्टेटस, स्पेशली जब हम डिजिटल कम्युनिकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं। और जब भी ऐसे एपिसोड जैसे कि पेगासस सर्विलेंस हुआ, यहाँ पे हमने दूसरे इंसिडेंट्स की बात की है, व्हाट्सएप ने अपनी पॉलिसी चेंज करने की बात की है, ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स जो हैं वो यहाँ पे हमारे लिए ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट क्रिएट करते हैं, नॉट जस्ट एट एन इंडिविजुअल लेवल बट एट द नेशनल लेवल ऑल्सो। नाउ दैट इज वाई इट बिकम्स इम्पॉर्टेंट टू मेंटेन अ बैलेंस in terms of national interest, and when we are talking about not just privacy but also the individual rights, and especially in the democracies, because here we just don't have to ensure freedom for the name of it. Freedom comes with different aspects associated with it, of the life, and digital freedom becomes the part of it. Now I have a question for you here. Take it more like a food for thought, where you can think about the dimensions, what are the things that you can write, you can put it down in the comment section. Basically, how do democracies, when I'm saying democracies, you understand we are talking about US also, we are talking about the biggest democracy in the world, India also, how they can ensure that there is digital freedom as well, while securing state sovereignty and citizen rights. So there are three dimensions that you need to keep in mind while you're thinking. First, digital freedom we are talking about, second, state sovereignty, third, citizens' right. You can put it down in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.